Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ruby Summer Rose Court. To recap where we left off last time, we successfully negotiated a treaty with the desert tribe led by Taiyang about building ley lines in the desert, and we also had a great opportunity to talk things through with Yang, as there was some bad blood between the two of us. But now everything seems to be okay. Seems to be, with Summer Rose Court. It's hard to tell if things are alright or not. But anyways, let's dive right back in. Penny, unusually subdued, doesn't make a single peep as we head out into the desert. I managed to drag myself out of my own thoughts long enough to check in on her. You okay? Does not look good. I glance over at Penny. Her shoulders are slumped and she's looking down at her hands, holding the reins of her steed. I suddenly feel a little guilty. I'm sorry, I never did get to show you around the village. If you want to stay a little longer. She shakes her head, looking a little green. I think the sooner we leave, the better. I feel wrong. Twisting in her saddle, she turns to me. Valiantly, she manages a smile. Something about this environment makes me feel faint. I confess, I feel similar. It's as if there's some heavy pressure, or like the air is thin. Perhaps I simply let the sun get to me? Yes, perhaps it is just the sun affecting my mechanisms. I ride closer to her for the remainder of the trip, nervous. Penny seems okay, but she keeps nodding off, her head slumping down before bobbing back up as she catches herself. Did you get enough sleep last night? Penny jolts upright at my question and turns to me with a smile. Sleep is optional for me, so no? Strange, so why do you look so tired? I'm sure I'll feel better tomorrow. Sitting up straighter, Penny rides ahead. She keeps up the pace for a good long time, and I'm about to brush it off as nothing when she nods off again. This time, her head doesn't perk up. Her heavy body sways, grip loosening on the reins as she falls from her saddle. Oh crap! I rush over to her, dismounting and kneeling by her side. Penny doesn't respond, lying in a crumpled heap in the sand. Her eyelids are lowered but not completely closed, revealing no light from within. Penny? Hey, snap out of it! I shake her, trying to get her to look at me, to say something, anything. Penny only stares vacantly into the sky above. Penny! Oh. What did I do wrong? No. God. Oh. I really hope I didn't mess something up again. In the castle gardens, it feels like nothing is wrong. Zwei keeps close, trotting along at my heels. So you finally remembered you're supposed to be my dog, hmm? Sitting down on one of the benches, I pat the surface for him to join me. Zwei gladly does. Don't think I haven't noticed you prefer Master Oobleck's library over my room. Dogs aren't even allowed in there. You're spoiled. Zwei grumbles in response, almost like he can understand. I hug him tight to my chest, unexpected guilt hurting me. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I squeeze him again, burying my face into his fur. I'm the worst. Mentioning Oobleck invariably draws my thoughts to Penny. Ever since she overheated in the desert, she's been non-responsive. Oobleck is keeping her in the labs downstairs, the ones he repurposed for his own experiments. Weiss is assisting. She's still not fully recovered from being poisoned, but that hasn't stopped her. Every day I can find her tearing through the notes found in Edubige's shrine, searching for any hint or clue that might rescue our friend. She wouldn't have been out there if it wasn't for me. She made her choice. If you seek to lash yourself, do it for something you are responsible for. I look up, a scowl on my face. What's that supposed to mean? Surely you realize by now, those Alpha Grimm made their portals through you. That is why you felt it, when the Alpha attacked Tuakoane and my castle. We need to discuss this. Yeah. I kind of didn't want to think about it, but I guess we need to bring it up. The big, ugly Goliath in the room. Instead of elephant. How do I control this? When the major portals are activated, there's this whole ritual that happens. But the Alpha Grimm just grabbed me and used me. It is vexing. I just don't know why she keeps doing it. There is nothing to stop Luna from making her own portals. Her words make me go still, forcing me to confront something else I'd been avoiding. What? Luna Fracta has her own host, I imagine, creating portals for the Grimm to travel from plane to plane. I sigh in frustration. She doesn't need you, yet she's using you anyway. I thought only I could make portals. Yes, the major portals that living flesh can pass through. The Grimm are shadows and hatred and unholy fire, not alive. They've used their own minor portals this whole time, even while you and your humans have been trapped the last 7 years. I mean, not that I didn't already suspect, but you could have confirmed this sooner. What good would it have done you? I don't know. Is there anything else you're not telling me? I am an age-old spirit, omniscient and omnipotent within my own realm. You would be dead before I finished listing the things I am not telling you, little Rose. I growl under my breath, making Zwei's ears prick up in concern. So why did they use me? The Alphas are massive. Your more powerful portals were easier for them to pass through. Also, Luna probably wanted to make you uncomfortable, or catch you off guard. Alarmingly, the stone bench shifts under my hands. One of Crescent's vines emerges, stroking my cheek in a fond gesture as pride glows within me. You were not so easily hobbled. I lean away from her, eyes toward the blue sky. Right. She retreats again, sinking deeper into the castle. Yet I know there is at least one more Alpha Grimm out there. But it is old as Vale itself, perhaps. It lies asleep in darkness, dreaming, waiting to be awoken. So perhaps we need to think about a preemptive attack. Any ideas where the last Alpha might be? A few. Gather your allies. Luna will not wait forever, and neither will her monster. Right, my allies. I sigh deeply. I'm not completely alone in this. I have to keep remembering that. I still have Ozpin and Glinda. And I have Ren and Nora helping me make sense of all of the spirit things. I look up to the ramparts, trying to spot the guard tower where Pyrrha is camping out. And Pyrrha is a powerful ally. Her people respect her, and she has my back. For now, I just have to focus on our next step. If the last Alpha is already in Vale, there's no way it exists without record. Even if it only exists in myth, we need more clues, where it's hiding, what it's capable of. I've had Oobleck searching through all of the old books, but we haven't found anything. Maybe we need to search through that underground lab one more time? It can't hurt. A single vine lifts up like a hand offered to me. I accept the help, getting to my feet and leaving the garden. Heading down the hallway, I turn through the door that will lead down to the labs. While I'm down there, I can also check on Penny. The idea cheers me. Crescent grumbles, no real words, but a distinct sense of discontent. She's jealous. Now, have you thought about who you will dance with for the visiting Faunus dignitaries? Oh, this she will not like. I speak to Crescent in my mind, not wanting to alarm any of the castle guard walking past me. Not really, I'd almost forgotten. Don't suppose you have any special requests? None that come to mind. Didn't we say that we would wanted to dance with Penny? I turn into the hallway and spot Jaune. He's standing in front of the tapestries, unaware of my presence. His eyes dart from leaf to leaf, searching for something. I shall retire for now. Like sand trickling from between my fingers, I feel Crescent's presence slide away. Stepping closer to him, I clear my throat. He twitches, facing me with alarm. Your Majesty? I didn't... His eyes return to the tree. I wonder what's going on in his mind, what he's doing down here. But I decide not to pry. So we look up at the tapestry of my family tree, the gold leaves and etchings of every branch and offshoot. And, of course, the single solitary name left at the end of a branch. My name. It's very pretty. I've never had a chance to look at it before now. I wanted to see if I could find... He lifts his finger, carefully pointing out another name without touching the fabric. Huh, there it is. He gives me a quick smile, looking tired. We have an ancestor in common, all those... however many generations back. Funny how we wound up where we are, like it was fate, or planned. Except, not funny, more like the opposite of funny. Jaune, don't say that. It's a source of pride, for both of us. It's the only thing I have to be proud of. If it weren't for my name, a person like you and a person like me would have never become friends. We became friends because you saved a lot of lives, and I knew I needed you with me. Even if Ozpin hadn't suggested you take up your ancestral duty and be my Queen's Guard, I know we would have been friends. One way or another. Ruby's smile is just so beautiful. It's great. I sigh deeply, crossing my arms and seeking out that old link, the one between his family and mine. Your family is allowed to use the rose heraldry because of that marriage, right? No. It's because the arcs have always served the roses. We were gifted this symbol, etched on an enchanted shield. He gestures at his mantle, the rose protected under the arcs. The first of my line held that shield when fighting for the Rose Monarch. It was passed down along with the symbol. My great-great-grandmother saved her king's life with it during a rebellion. Her son carried it when Grimm attacked his home. That shield, it stood for everything my family was. And now, who knows where it is now? I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I can't keep whining to you every time I feel inadequate. I wonder if he's hinting at this enchanted shield as something that we need in our quest to defeat the Grimm. I wonder. I take a deep breath. Listen, Jaune, I was headed down to the lab to do some research. Why don't you come with me? I set a hand on his shoulder. We haven't had any lessons together recently, and I miss your company. Jaune hesitates, then he bites his lower lip, looking away. Maybe later. He leaves, anxiously rubbing the back of his neck. Aww. I go down to the workshop, each step heavier than the last. Each step heavier than the last. That is such a subtle yet powerful way to end that scene. I didn't realize it when I read it at first, but now, wow. Ooh. Great writing. That's beautiful. Inside, I find Penny resting on the table. The room is empty for now, but usually I can find Oobleck in here, running experiments. Sitting next to her, I take her cold hand in mine. Waiting. Oh. I really hope Penny's okay. It's like we're constantly, reclaiming alliances with old allies, and then we were making better with all of our court members, and now Penny just is falling ill for some reason. I'm dead tired. My bed looks like an oasis in the desert. Glad to finally have some time to myself, I almost collapse before I hear a knock at the door. Maybe if I ignore them long enough, they'll go away? They don't. I sigh and lean against a post at the foot of my bed, crossing my arms. Who is it? It's Jaune, Your Majesty. I know you must be tired, but could I ask for a moment of your time? This late? I could tell him to come back in the morning, but knowing Jaune, there has to be a good reason for his showing up. That's very true. Your Majesty? The door's unlocked, Jaune. Come sit next to me and Zwei. I pat my mattress and look down at Zwei. He opens one eye, then curls up into a ball. We had dogs back home, lots of them. Just bigger, I guess. There's a faraway look on his face, a sudden tightness at the corners of his eyes and lips. Then he looks me dead in the eyes. I'm here to ask a favor, Your Majesty. That is to say, Your Majesty, that well, if Sershny were here, she'd have my head for this. He looks about ready to hyperventilate. You're a member of my guard, so I'm going to be mean and order you to spit it out. What's on your mind? He goes quiet. His gaze falls to the floor, and he starts rubbing his bicep through his armor. I would never dream of deserting the crown in its time of need. Please believe that. Is he leaving? But please consider what I'm about to say. That night, 7 years ago, just like the Queen and King, the Ark family fell in defense of everything they loved. You sound like you're going to tell me about another ancient prophecy. Huh, no. He forces his mouth closed, takes a moment to think. The Grimm wiped everything I knew off the map. They butchered my entire family. I only survived by hiding in the wreckage until they left. Oh, Jaune. I immediately feel terrible for being so glib. When I see him trembling, hands balled into fists at his side, I can't begin to find the words. I'm so sorry. I haven't been home in years. That's why I'm telling you I'm going. The shield, my family's shield, it's called Pridewin. I found out where it is. I need to get it back. From the pack of Grimm infesting the tomb. From the what? So, maybe he buried his family in the tomb? And now he realized that the Pridewin is there? So normally I wouldn't think about letting him go, just because if he were to venture out to the Grimm-infested tomb, he'd be so isolated and so defenseless. You know, not that he's completely useless, but just one person alone, that's not a good idea. But the fact that he brought up two specific examples of the shield being used to actually defend the Rose Monarch, one from a rebellion and one in a Grimm attack, that makes me think that we have to go with him. That his shield plays a part, whether it's small or large, in defeating the Grimm in this scenario. So I think we have to go with him. I hope that's the right choice. I won't let you endanger yourself for your pride, Jaune. He frowns in lieu of saying anything else, looking away from me as he clenches his jaw hard. While he's not looking, I reach up and softly chop him on the shoulder. Yeah. Ow. No moping, Jaune. I need you on duty. Your mission: accompany me in the retrieval of a lost artifact. This artifact, held by a family with close ties to the crown, will be rescued from the diabolical grasp of Grimm, who have seen fit to take it for themselves. We can't allow these vile creatures to desecrate something so important. Do you accept these terms, Queen's Guard? Wow. Jaune catches on at last, eyes lighting up in joy. Yes, Your Majesty. Then we'll go. In the morning, Because I'm super tired right now. Sorry. He nods and bows again, smiles so wide it touches his ears. Thank you for everything you've done for me. He bows again before turning to leave, and I can't help but return his smile. Just you wait and see. I'm going to get that shield, Ruby, and nothing will stop me. I watch him go, thinking I've made the right choice, that between the two of us we're more than ready to face whatever may come. It's a good feeling. This is an excellent moment of harmony between these two characters. You know, because like in Ruby season 2, Jaune like had all this like man pain, and you know, like when Pyrrha like offered him help, he's like, "You think I need help?" And it's like, it was like such a backhanded response to her. And I'm glad that although he has this certain amount of pride in this situation, that he's humble enough to accept his monarch's help. And, you know, it just comes off as very wholesome. And I wish that Jaune was this level-headed in Ruby. This is another great moment right here, folks. It's good. It's a good feeling, yeah. It's barely a day's ride to Domremy, the Ark's family ancestral seat. There's not much talking on the way there. Everyone knows how little time we have. Any energy not spent riding is just wasted breath. It takes us a little while to get there, but finally Jaune leads us through the gates. The whole place is a ghost town. All I see is ruined stores and homes, broken doors creaking in the wind as we ride past. There were so many towns that ended up just like this after that night. How many families did we lose? A hand rests on my shoulder, and I jump, caught off guard. I turn to look and find Yang staring down at me, concern in her eyes. You all right? My eyes track over the ruins, the wreckage of lives destroyed. No, not really. We all spread out over the town, patrolling in pairs while we look for pursuers. Pyrrha finds a pair of young Beowulfs, but other than that, the whole place is abandoned. The longer we stay, the more tense Jaune gets. By the time we finish checking the town, he's jumping at the wind and the sound of pebbles beneath the horse's hooves. I watch, about to say something, as he shakes his head to clear it. Clicking his tongue, he drives his horse forward to the head of the group. Come on, everyone. It's this way. Jaune leads us out of town to a ravaged church just past the dilapidated walls. A graveyard sits behind it, extending out over a field, out of sight from the town proper. At the back, past rows and rows of headstones, sits a short stone building. The door is open, ripped off its hinges and left to rot 10 feet off. Claw marks decorate the entrance, the telltale signs of a resident pack. Guess he wasn't exaggerating about the grim. With this many tracks... Pyrrha kneels down by the entrance, running her hands over the dirt. I'd say there's about 50 down there, maybe more. It's rained too recently to tell for sure. Jaune just swallows, staring blankly at the mouth of the crypt, eyes locked on the darkness, as if he's waiting for something to come rushing out. I wait, trying to give him a chance to take the lead. All right, everyone. Get your gear. Keep close and don't run ahead. Yes, Mom. I grin and play along instead of taking insult. Grab your dungeon buddy. Everyone have a dungeon buddy? Make sure to hold hands. Oh, Ruby. And did everyone remember to pack snacks? Oh God, Pyrrha. I have some dried fruit and sandwiches in case you didn't. Oh, Ren. We all start giggling, and it breaks down some of the tense mood. I hop off Ember and grab Little Thorn while the others do the same. The only one who doesn't is Jaune, still transfixed by the tomb. I step up next to him, close enough that the others won't hear. Grabbing his horse's reins, I pull him towards me. This is for your family. I'm gonna follow your lead on this one. okay? Just be careful. We can't afford to lose anyone. Maybe you should stay behind. If I screw up and something should happen to you. Tell him to man up or to let him get it together. Okay. So, we've gone through loyalty missions for first Blake, then Weiss, then Yang. Or at least I think that was the mission for Yang. And now it seems to be Jaune. So, I am very nervous about these two choices. Like, both of these sound like they could lead to positive outcomes. To be reassured by the monarch, or to let him come to his own terms. God, this is such a hard decision. Let's see. God, what do I do? This is so hard. Tell him to man up or let him get it together. I hope this is the right choice, but I think we need to be firm. Calm down. We can't have you panicking in there. Man up. Get your head straight and let's go. Sorry, you're right. Is everyone ready? He's met by a series of nods as everyone hefts their weapons, ready for whatever might be waiting for us. Jaune fixes his shield onto his arm and turns toward the crypt. At his side, I'm the only one close enough to see his Adam's apple bob as he swallows nervously. He mutters a prayer under his breath and then steps into the darkness. Down here, cut off from the world, it's as still as, well, still as the grave. After a few minutes, we come to a crossways. The tunnel splits in two directions, no signs of markings to tell us where either leads. Do you know which way to go? My breath turns to fog when I speak. This deep underground, everything is dank and chill. Jaune looks both ways, then stops, eyes flickering over the walls as he tries to remember the way. This way, I think. The path widens, and all around me I see alcoves carved into the wall. Bodies are shelved within, like library books, curled up and wrapped in aging linen. The hair on the back of my neck stands up, but not from cold, and not from fear either. There's magic here. I can tell I'm in a very important place, a revered place. It feels like when I went to meet Lin in the temple. The walls are 4 alcoves high. Some of the bodies have rusted weapons laid at their feet, or paintings fading on the wall of their space. And one of them has a grim. Look out! He shoves me out of the way as the creature pounces. Taking its claws on his shield, Jaune buckles beneath the blow, then steps aside and runs it through. All around us I hear rattling noises, ancient debris and grime shifting aside. A lizard-like grim hisses from its vantage point, crunching a human bone between powerful jaws. All of us stand back to back, cutting down any grim that get too close. Then the last one falls, and it's done. Waiting for more, I look around, searching for entrances, and I notice something about the walls. They're black, covered in pitch. Like the stuff the Alpha Grim was spitting out. I meet his gaze and see my own worried expression mirrored back at me. In Pyrrha's plane, it had set up a nest to build more Chimera. You think it got the idea to build an army that way? I don't think the Alpha's here. I would feel it, but I think it's been here. Crescent, any thoughts? You're correct. I'm sure you feel the presence of the Grim. Old, powerful Grim. You've been awfully quiet. I swear she twists inside me, smugly writhing. You said it yourself. It's Jaune's turn to be leader. Ugh. Jaune swallows, throat bobbing. I don't blame him. Just looking at this corruption makes my stomach turn. If this mess is what's poisoning the soil and water up above, how do we fight this? How do we stop something that corrupts the very world around it? With the path clear for now, we continue on. The tunnel leads deeper down into the earth, twisting and turning, before it finally ends at a massive wooden door. We're here. Jaune steps forward, cautious, and wraps his finger around the handle. He pulls and swings open, rusted hinges groaning in protest. Inside is a simple shrine. An alcove sits alone at the end. A human-sized statue stands nearby. At its feet is... Prydwen. It really was here, this whole time. He bends down and takes the shield. It shines with its own special enchantments, old ones I don't recognize. Looks heavy. It is. He strokes the edge of it with his fingertips and falls quiet again, lost in his own thoughts. You and I will have to train even harder if you intend to take that into battle. Jaune nods and gives her a grateful smile. See? You know, like, she offered him like an olive branch and saying like, let's train together. Let's, you know, make each other the best warriors that we can. And he didn't take offense to that. He gladly accepted her offer. And that's how it should be, you know, for a respected, well-grounded character. And that's great. Do you want to stay and pay respect to your ancestors? He turns and looks behind him at the statue of a person who almost shares his face. No. I want to, but we can't linger too long. More Grimm are coming, and we don't have time to waste. I wait until he's right beside me before I say anything, my voice low enough that only he will hear. I'm sorry. We leave just as alert and cautious as before. Everyone expects more Grimm. This has all been too easy, too quick. Jaune's words ring true as we round a corner and come face to face with a horde, all of them spitting and hissing with long serpentine tongues. We make short work of them, but it's another fight we don't need, another delay. I've never seen Grimm like this before. Feel like naming him? Blake bends down, waving a hand through the corpse of a Grimm as it evaporates into the air. The only thing I can think of is a Kilgahara to match the legends of this area. Kilgara? I think that's how to say it. To honor your ancestors, and rubies, of course. Yeah, I don't really see that as honoring us, like, in any way. Back to the drawing board, then. When we return to the intersection heading out, everything suddenly makes sense. No, 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 no! Piles of bones, rocks, and rubble block the exit. Jaune runs to it, clawing at the stones. Some of the dirt crumbles under his hand, but the heavier stones only barely budge. They trapped us! Some of my people are stationed right outside. We aren't abandoned. Looks like Agravain will have an excuse to test out some of his bombs. Is that safe? When has that ever stopped him? Gritting his teeth, Jaune digs into the blockade, trying to pull it apart piece by piece. Okay, this is no time to panic. They only had a short time to do this. It's not packed in that tight, see? He holds up a femur, waggling it at me with a thin, tired smile. If we put our backs into it, we can dig our way out. I shudder at the sight, but go to join him, offering up a quiet apology to everything the Grimm desecrated. It's a long list. I guess you could say the Grimm. Nora laughs under her breath. It's a nervous giggle, but Ren starts nudging her anyway. I won't say it. I won't. You better not. It suddenly hits me. The Grimm have a bone to pick with us? Oh, no. Pyrrha gasps, but Jaune actually starts howling with laughter, stopping long enough to clutch his sides. Jaune, I'm so sorry. It's my family remains. I say we can joke about them. The Ark legacy can't be sad and gloomy like all the roses are. Hey! That's weak, Ruby. You see the obvious boner joke and you don't go for it. Oh my god. Blake snickers, though I can tell she's trying not to. Oh man. The blockade isn't very thick. We dig our way through, but on the other end is another unwelcome surprise. 5 new tunnels have sprouted out of nowhere, each leading a different direction into the dark. Jaune? Yeah. It was a pretty straight shot from the entrance to here, right? Yeah. There was definitely no point where there was more than 2 tunnels, right? Yeah, and I marked the turns we made. So what? I gesture widely. Is this? They want you to get lost. No doubt some tunnels lead straight into grim pits. Then there is a low noise, a rattling sound against the stone walls. We all freeze, hearing it at the same time. I turn to Jaune, who wasn't looking at me, but something behind me. Whirling around, I raise Little Thorn and gaze up into the face of a hellish, draconic grim that had poisoned Weiss. Oh, not you again! In response, it swipes with toxic yellow claws, smashing me aside. I crash into the wall, focusing only on keeping my grip on Little Thorn. Ruby! The grim rattles its quills, preparing to throw another volley of projectiles at us. Enraged, I feel Crescent's power bubble up inside me. Throwing out a hand, I blast the creature backwards, away from us so we have a moment to regroup. Keep your shields up. The moment it sees an opening, it'll shoot a quill at you. The grim is incredibly fast. Whip-like, it crosses the distance between us to lunge at me again. No! The tip stops an inch from my face, dripping poison down onto the ground. Claws slide against steel as Jaune lifts Pridewind to put himself between us and the grim. Don't you dare! Lay a finger on them! The grim roars, and I swear Jaune roars back before the grim bats his shield arm aside and lunges. Just like before, with Weiss. Teeth slide through the armor like butter, and it crushes Jaune between its jaws, sinking deep into his flesh. Lightning erupts. Every inch of the cave is blinding white, and all I can see is a vague silhouette as Nora swings her hammer. I'm going to break your teeth in, you... She smashes the grim's head against the cave wall. A flood of pink flower petals weave around the grim's legs, flipping it onto its back to expose its belly to Ren's swords. Crescent's magic rages free from my grasp, the air itself pinning the grim down into the ground and leaving it helpless to my people's attacks. The air fills with cries and roars, the sound of blades on bone and flesh. The grim drops Jaune in shock and he rolls limply aside, only to then struggle up to his knees. It's gonna try and flee again. Jaune, get out of there! Shoot up so that she can make it through another barrage of quills, she tries to reach him. Not this time. Casting Pridewind aside, Jaune takes his sword in both hands and slices down, a killing blow that knocks the grim's head from its shoulders. Turning to me, Jaune smiles in exhausted pride just before the explosion hits him. The grim strikes one last time, writhing and flailing in its death throes, shooting quills in every direction. Jaune's body shudders with the impact, all of them stabbing through the spaces between his broken armor. Brilliant white light floods the room, so intense I have to cover my eyes. With the lifeless grim at his feet, Jaune slowly collapses onto the ground. His blood pools together with its black venom, mixing in with the dirt. For an instant, everything goes still. Absolutely still. Jaune! I rush to him, dropping Little Thorn on the ground as I pull him up. His face is stark white, bloodless, and shocked as he gasps for breath. Oh god, oh no. No, no, how could you do that? I grasp one of the quills, unsure if I should pull it free or leave it in place. God, that hurts. Hurts so much. Jaune answers for me, yanking them out one by one. Jaune laughs shakily, the sound coming out as a wheezing cough. You were right, Captain. It was too heavy. What? Pridewind, It's too heavy. I couldn't lift it quick enough. This is so much worse than when Weiss was injured. Blood soaks my hands, seeming almost black in the darkness, like grim pitch, arterial blood spurting in time with his heartbeat, staining me red. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing anyone can do. Hold on, Jaune, or don't you dare die. Don't you dare die. Don't you dare. You can't die on me. Ruby, I'm not going anywhere. That's right. Stay with me. Don't fall asleep. No, Ruby, Please, you're my friend. Please. I don't want to move him too much, but I hold him in my arms. Slowly, his hands lift up as well, gently stroking my back. Please. Ruby, just look at me, please. I do. I don't want to, but I do. Under the broken armor and shredded clothes is a whole lot of blood, but under that, under the stains, his skin is completely smooth and unmarked, not even a bruise. Did it not? Wait, did you? I take my hands and move it up to his shoulder, not even sure if I believe my eyes. Another flash of white light washes over the room. The light fades, leaving sunspots in my vision. When they clear, I can see the others looking as surprised as me, gazing down at newly healed scrapes and bruises, the little wounds they'd picked up fighting the Grimm now completely gone. Very good. As always, the Rose lineage manifests its power in unpredictable ways. Good that he finally got a grip on his. Even some of the corruption staining the walls of the tunnel is gone, burned away by the same light. Before we even have a chance to speak, the sound of rocks crumbling fills the tunnel. One of the side walls collapses, stones flying everywhere. I have Little Thorn back in my hands in seconds. If this is another wave of Grimm. The last of the stones falls, and fresh air rushes in through the gap. Fresh, clean air, free of the tunnel's dank and earthy scent. Your Majesty? Is that you? It takes me a second to realize the voices I'm hearing are those of my soldiers, the ones left behind to guard our backs from any more Grimm following us into the tunnels. I help Jaune up to his feet, amazed to see him standing in one piece. Can you walk? Tired. That's all he seems able to say. Pierre puts an arm around Jaune's waist, helping him along as we head back up the tunnel. Healed, but dirty and tired, we all trudge back out of the crypt, mount up, and head home. Alright, so I think this is a great place to take a break, because I am so fucking just nervous right now. Like, the minute the Alpha Grimm bit down on Jaune, I just immediately thought back to Weiss, and I was like, oh no, not this again, not again. But I'm glad that his aura came into play, and it actually healed him on the spot. And kind of like the show, you know, as Pyrrha mentioned, his aura healed him. And apparently he has a lot of it, so that was cool. And it even healed everyone around him too. So, which as revealed in later seasons of RWBY, turns out is, you know, his ability, that he can heal others as well. So, Jaune is safe for now. Everyone survived. My mind just goes back to Penny. I really hope that I didn't do something to have caused that. And if I didn't, I hope she's okay. I just love her so much, and I hate to see her like that. And gosh. Anyways, enough rambling. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all on the next episode of RWBY Summer Rose Court. Until then.
You so fucking precious when you smile. Yeah. Girl, I lose myself up in those eyes.